Thank you very much, Mandy, and thank everyone for joining. Really pleased to have you all here, talk about something that I'm very passionate about. So I'm going to go into a presentation just now. Thankfully, it's not a heck of a long presentation, but I think there's some very deep questions to be asked there. But before I even get into the presentation mode, I just want to tell you about my journey to Agile and why I'm so passionate about the HR journey into Agile. In fact, come from an HR background. I've been in HR virtually all of my career. I started my HR consulting company in 2001, which is just over 20 years ago. And for most of that time, obviously HR strategy, organizational design is something I became very well known for, performance management, balanced scorecards, and things like that. I was doing an organizational design project in 2017, most probably about my 15th full-on organizational design transformation for a big financial services insurance company in South Africa. And I was, doing this hierarchical structure and writing job descriptions. And I'm not lying when I say this was most probably my 7,000th job description that I'd written over the years. And it suddenly hit me that I didn't think I was actually really adding any value to the organization that I was delivering a service to. I didn't think that the hierarchical structures was the best way to structure businesses, even though that was the traditional way. I didn't think it was right to box people into a job description when you could get so much more out of them by, really generating out of them what they're best at and where their best skills and passions lie. So I started then investigating into Agile, really liked what I saw. And the intent at that stage was to totally move away from HR consulting and into business agility consulting. And I flew across to the USA and did a enterprise business agility strategist workshop. I did the SAFE program consultant training here in South Africa, which for those of you who know Scaled Agile, the SPC training is a very intense 4-day, very technical training around Agile. It was while I was sitting in that SAFE program consultant training, and I could see all of the stuff coming at me, which was to me what we call today doing Agile. So it was very much framework and process driven. And I kept on saying within the class, and I was sort of the lone voice because everybody else was either an Agile coach or a technology person. I was saying, but this stuff's about people. It's not, yes, it is about process, it is about technology, but it's much more about people. And if we don't deal with the people aspect of Agile, we are not going to get the most out of our Agile transformations. So at that particular time, I continued obviously on the Agile journey, but I very much brought in a people focus into that. And I do believe that in today's environment, HR is more than likely, to answer the question that's at the forefront of the presentation, I do believe that HR is most probably the most important enabler of agility in the business. And my presentation and our discussion and questions from you after that will address that. I think if HR is not involved in the Agile transformation, the Agile transformation is deemed to fail, is doomed to fail down the line, because if we're not addressing those people issues that we'll talk about later, there's going to be a problem area. But let me go into the presentation, and I do promise you that it's not a heck of a long one. So I'm going to allow a lot of opportunity for questions, because I promise you as well that I am going to say some controversial things around what I see the future of HR being. So I just want to put it on, hopefully you can all see that. So that's the question, is HR the most important enabler of agility? It also comes to the question, we often hear the HR team saying, we want our seat at the table. We want to be recognized as a truly strategic business partner. But when you, and again, I'm generalizing here, what I am seeing a shift in the HR community to become much more involved in the business. And I really, I'm really excited about that. But for many years, a lot of HR teams didn't understand the business value chain that they were servicing. So if you don't understand the business value chain you're servicing, then it's going to be difficult to give value to that value chain. But that is changing because the world has changed so rapidly, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So again, Mindy was very kind to introduce us, but very quickly, we're the only gold partner for Scaled Agile in Africa and the Middle East. One thing we do say about Scaled Agile, because we know that there's detractors, is we don't necessarily drink the Kool-Aid. We believe it's a great system, but it's much more about being agile than doing agile. We've got the only 2 enterprise business agility trainers. As Mindy said, we won the World Agility Forum Award in 2020, and about 10 days ago, we were part of a team that won the one for 2021 as well. So very excited about that. And then you can see our footprint and where our offices are, and some of our clients and some of our ecosystem partners. So the foundational challenges facing organizations today, if I start off actually at the bottom right, that's commonly known as martechs law. And what you see there is, as we know, the speed of change curve in innovation and technology is just exponential. It's happening at such a rapid rate. Justin Trudeau, as you know, the Prime Minister of Canada, said in 2018 at the World Economic Forum that the world is changing faster today than it's ever changed before, but today is the slowest it'll ever change into the future. So that change is just rapidly happening and rapidly continuing. But the way that we've managed businesses has been changing logarithmically. So in many organizations, and it's quite surprising this, but in many organizations, you'll find that the way that we manage the company today is not a heck of a lot different to the way that we managed the business 15, 20, 30 years ago. And it needs to be. That capability gap between the innovation change and the management change is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And obviously, HR is the holder of learning and development in organization. It's up to them to really start bridging that gap. Rita McGrath at the top says we're working with outdated tools and assumptions. So Rita is one of the preeminent strategy consultants globally today. And then on the left-hand side, what we have seen is a lot of organizations are talking about the new normal. I often talk about the new abnormal. There's nothing normal. There's nothing normal about the world we live in today compared to that we lived in 2 years ago. And it's those organizations that are embracing that change and shaping their next normal that are getting a much bigger competitive advantage over their competitors and driving that change.